Yorkies on tren. Yes, this is my analogy. No, you can't have it. I should copyright it. But if you want to use it, by all means use it. Just make sure you credit me. I mean this to be funny. It's intended to be funny, just like how extra average is intended to be funny. But we're all extra average, or at least trying to be. Yorkies on tren. What the hell is he talking about? Well, here's the deal. This is the easy way for me to put it. You can take your Yorkie and you can put your Yorkie on tren, but it's still not a pit bull. That's simple. Here's the deal. A lot of people are trying to be something that they're not, and they think that they can somehow, I don't know, like change biology or something and like make themselves into, I don't know, like strongman competitors or basketball players whenever you're 5'5". Sorry. Doesn't work that way. I can't take a Clydesdale and turn it into a thoroughbred racehorse. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see a Clydesdale win the Kentucky Derby. Never going to happen. Same thing for a donkey. I can't take a donkey and turn a donkey into a Triple Crown winner. Not going to happen. But I also can't take a thoroughbred and have it pull huge, heavy carts like the way a Clydesdale can. It's just not made that way. It's a thoroughbred racehorse. That's like having a Ferrari. And now you want to take it off-roading? What are you doing? You know better. This is unfortunate. This is tragic. I'm sorry. It hurts. And it's a personal thing for me, because, look at me. I'm not even 6 feet tall. And I'm nowhere near 400 pounds. But I would really like to win the world's strongest man. Everyone wants to be something that they're not. It's just the way it is. You see these big guys and they want six-pack abs and they want to look like the, cover model, And then, meanwhile, you got these cover model guys looking at them and thinking, man, I wish I could squat 1,000 pounds. Here's the deal, man. And this is just the way it is. Like I said, I look at myself. I have no copies of Actin 3. Had my DNA testing done. No copies of Actin 3. My wrists are 6 inches around. That's a tiny little wrist. It's great for bodybuilding. That's what people tell me. People are like, you have really small joints. You'd be really good at bodybuilding. Because apparently having small joints makes your muscles look bigger proportionately. And so it has a better, quote, aesthetic appearance to it, right? Because I have this tiny wrist, so it makes my forearm look much bigger. Or I have really small ankles, so my calf will look bigger in proportion to how small my bones are. But I don't want to do that. I want to pick up a 600-pound yoke and run with it. I'm not built to do that. I've tried. Yeah, actually I did compete in a strongman event. I didn't finish a single one of the events. But I did. I did participate. The Atlas Stones, I got the 225 up. 225 pounds, not 225 kilos or something. That would be phenomenal. I'd be telling everyone about that. I was definitely the smallest and weakest guy there. Everyone else picked up the yoke and carried it the full distance, and then the winner was the person who carried it the fastest. I picked up the 600-pound yoke, and I carried it about 10 yards, and then I couldn't pick it up a second time. So I got a DNF for just about every single event. Oh well. No big deal. Hey, it was just screwing around. It wasn't even like it was a serious competition, right? It was this thing that they were doing at strength camp, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. But I'm obviously not a strongman competitor. Well, I'm not a Clydesdale either, and neither are you. Or maybe you are. And if you are, embrace that. Be it. Own it. Be the best fucking Clydesdale in the entire world. But don't trash yourself trying to be a thoroughbred. Okay? Back to my analogy about the Yorkies, right? Yorkies on tren. You can take your Yorkie and you can put your Yorkie on whatever you want, and that Yorkie will still never be a pit bull. A castrated pit bull will still tear your little Yorkie to shreds, even if that Yorkie is on Anadrol and tren and whatever. It's just the way it is, folks. I have a beagle now. He's cute. He's a fuzzy little guy, and he's fun. There's no amount of growth hormone, testosterone, etc. And there's no amount of, I don't know, some type of weight training for dogs that would turn him into my Newfoundland. Okay, I had a Newfoundland. She stood over 6 feet tall when she stood up on her hind legs, and she weighed about 160 to 165 pounds, and she was very, very powerful. This dog was so strong that I could hop in the water with her, and I could hold on to her, and she would tow me through the water. She was very, very strong. That's exactly what she was bred for, and that's exactly what she did. And we did rescue work, and she was trained to do water rescue as well. She was a very strong swimmer. I can't do that with my beagle. Okay, he's like 35 to 40 pounds because he's a beagle lab mix. Whatever other shit is in him, who knows? But he looks beagle-ish. Looks like a little yellow beagle. People think that he's a puppy. People think that he's a lab puppy. He's not a puppy. He's like 13 years old. Anyways, he's never going to be a Newfoundland. He's never going to be as strong as a Newfoundland. He's never going to be as powerful as a Newfoundland. So my female Newfoundland will forever be stronger than my male beagle. Okay? At some point, you just have to accept who you are, what you are, and then use that to your advantage. Like, pick a sport that works for you. I honestly, I will tell you right now, I think one of my biggest mistakes was that I refused to let go of hockey. There were sports I was better at, but I loved hockey, and all I wanted to do was play hockey. There's a problem, though. I was like 5'10", and I'm really skinny. I didn't have the size. I mean, it's fine. I did just fine playing amateurs and stuff like that as a kid growing up because everybody is going through weird phases. But like when guys started hitting puberty, that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair at all. You know, I'm 15 years old. I haven't even hit puberty yet because I didn't hit puberty till I was like 18. Sucks for me. And I'm playing against guys that hit puberty when they were 13. So they're like full-grown men. Like, I'm playing against guys that are 18 years old, and then they hit puberty at like 13, so by the time that they're 18, they're fully grown. No. Like, I'm 15, I haven't even hit puberty yet, and I'm playing against guys that look like full-grown men. They had fucking beards. There were 18-year-old guys that had facial hair. Dude, I didn't even have hair underneath my armpits. I'm trying to play hockey against them. I just got hammered. I should have picked different sports. That's the way it is. Like, I should have picked a different sport. And that's kind of like where I'm at with a lot of these things. I try to tell people, like, if you are thin and you have, long limbs, etc., like, maybe powerlifting isn't for you. Maybe strongman isn't for you. And similarly, if you're a really big dude, like you're 6'4", 6'5", like, I don't know, like maybe weightlifting isn't for you. You'll notice that a lot of the weightlifters are on the shorter side of things. Okay? Yeah, I figured it out once. I think for my height, I should be something insane, like at least 105 kilos. Like when you look at weightlifters by like their height, suddenly you start seeing that, all the guys that are like around 170 centimeters tall, they're also like somewhere in like the high 90s, low 100s for their body weight. Kilos. Yeah, there's no way you're going to put 225 pounds of muscle on my frame. It's not going to happen. It's never going to hold it. I can get 225 pounds of fat. I can get fat. I was 236 pounds at one point. I was fat. That was from a hospital stay. By the way, I didn't just get fat on my own. I was in the hospital for a prolonged period of time, and they pumped me full of all kinds of fun things like dexamethasone and ampicillin, IV around the clock, and while giving me shit-ass food, because hospital food is garbage. I'm pretty sure it's probably a step lower than the stuff they feed people in prison, if you want my opinion on hospitals. Not that you asked for it, but you just got it. I think the food at hospitals is absolute trash. Hey, you're suffering. Eat this garbage that costs us practically nothing, because we can't possibly give people decent food while they're in the hospital. We're going to bill your insurance thousands of dollars, but forget giving you decent food. Anyways, nice little tangent there. But yeah, that's the reality. Like, I'm not going to be 225 pounds of muscle. And so it's like I said about the Yorkies on tren. Like, you can put a Yorkie on tren. It's not a pit bull. You can take your Clydesdale and you can train it like it's a thoroughbred. It's never going to win the Kentucky Derby. And you can take your thoroughbred and you can hook it up to a cart, a wagon, whatever you want, plow, and your thoroughbred racehorse is not going to function like a Clydesdale. So I really think the secret to excelling in sports is to pick something that works for you. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you can't violate that. There are exceptions. You could be Muggsy Bogues. Like you could be 5'9" and play in the NBA. You could. Is that likely? No. No. Like you're probably not going to be a pro basketball player if you're 5'9". It's just not going to happen for you. Kind of like how you're not going to win World's Strongest Man if you're 160 pounds. That much I don't know of any exceptions. You have exceptions like Muggsy Bogues, and you have exceptions like Theo Fleury. Theo Fleury playing in the NHL, right? Yeah, you don't have to be over 6 feet to play in the NHL. You occasionally do have these players. But I am unaware of any exceptions in World's Strongest Man where some guy showed up being like 5'6" and 140, 150 pounds and won. Haven't seen that. Haven't seen that in powerlifting either. I haven't seen anybody squat 1,000 pounds who weighed in at 160. Not happening. Where am I headed with this? Why would I even bring this up? It's just that whole point that I was trying to make about the fact that a lot of people are we end up dissatisfied. We end up dissatisfied because we try so hard to be something that we're not. So sometimes the best thing you can do is just kind of chill out and then find something that actually fits you. Find the sport that works for you and you'll enjoy it because, when you're good at something, you start to enjoy it. It really is that simple. And it sounds dumb, but that's the truth. If you enjoy something, you're more likely to keep doing it. So when you find something that you're good at, you'll start to enjoy it, and then you'll keep doing it. Why did Michael Jordan practice basketball so much? Because he enjoyed playing basketball. He also became good at it because he kept playing. So, that's one of those things you have to think about. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I'm not trying to tell you don't pursue your dreams. By all means, pursue your dreams. But sometimes we should take a moment to say, hey, what is a good fit for me? Because maybe you're built better to be a boxer than you are to be a MMA fighter. Or, maybe you're built better for wrestling than you are for, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for instance. Or even maybe you're built better for judo than you are for, wrestling. It doesn't have to be super specific. If you want to learn a martial art, pick a martial art that you enjoy. But also, maybe pick a martial art that kind of favors some of your attributes. Maybe you have really long arms. If you're like me and you have really long arms, boxing's a great sport for you because you can hit people and they can't reach you. Especially if you learn how to use your reach. If you get a good coach, they teach you how to use your jab and create distance. Having long arms is a benefit. Having long arms in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not good. It's not good for me. It's never been good for me. I have long arms, and I am so screwed whenever I get stuck in an armbar. There's no getting out of it. It's just the nature of having long arms. I have very long arms, and if you get me caught in an armbar, I don't have a whole lot of levers to pull out. So, guess what? But hey, if you try to choke me, it's really hard to choke me. So, for whatever that's worth, doesn't really matter because most of the time people recognize the fact that I, have long limbs, and so it's easy to catch me in an armbar or, You don't see a lot of ankle locks anymore. I know that's becoming popular in ADCC and stuff like that, but really, that's pretty rare for people to go on that. Everyone always shoots for the arms or shoulders, which is, again, long arms. You're screwed if someone tries to get you in any kind of lock. If you have longer limbs are not good for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they're great for boxing. And so this is a very long and drawn-out way of explaining how different levers and different lengths make you better at different things. You'll notice that the Chinese weightlifters tend to have shorter femurs. That's why they squat so well. You're not going to see a lot of really tall, long-femured people squatting huge weights. Tends to be that it's good for you to have shorter femurs. Look at deadlifting. People with really long arms are good at deadlifting. You don't see a lot of people with long arms doing really well in the bench press, though. Right? So you have a big barrel chest and shorter arms. That's good for a bench press. Small chest and really long arms, not great for a bench press. And so I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about here. It's just a matter of the fact that certain people are built to be better at certain sports. Look at your swimmers. At the elite level, they all look the same. At the elite level, because it favors a certain body type. Being long and thin makes you move faster in the water because it has to do with all these dynamics like drag and stuff like that. Being long and thin is beneficial to that sport. But you're not going to see Michael Phelps show up at the World's Strongest Man and pick up the biggest Atlas stone. It's not going to happen. I don't care how hard he trains for it. It's not going to happen for him. If you don't have big, thick joints, you're not going to pick up big, heavy weights. That's all there is to it. So, anyways, that's a long way of explaining all this, but I try to explain this to people that sometimes we're chasing something that we're just simply not meant for. And so, similarly, if you're like me, and you have 6-inch thick wrists, and you have no copies of Actin 3 and your Apo E4, you're probably not going to be an elite level weightlifter, or an elite level powerlifter, or an elite level 100-meter runner. It's not going to happen for you. And you're probably not going to do very well in power sports either. You're not going to be a great football player. I certainly can't play offensive line. That's not going to be a good one for me. Skill position, maybe you could play quarterback, because that's a skill position. But playing offensive line, you're going to get your ass run over. Defensive line, you're going to get your ass run over. You don't see 160-pound linemen. Doesn't happen. So, anyways, that's a long and drawn-out explanation, but I hope you guys get the better message here. And the better message here is that I am encouraging people to kind of stop chasing things that maybe aren't meant for you, And like I said, it's personal, because I would love to compete in World's Strongest Man. I remember being a kid on the couch with my dad watching World's Strongest Man. I remember watching Magnus ver Magnuson and Magnus Samuelsson. They were all named Magnus. Sven Karlsson, Phil Pfister, all the great ones. All the great ones, People have no idea. You're watching Eddie Hall and Halfthorpe Bjornsson these days, and it's like, you guys have no idea. There was this guy, Bill Kazmaier, who was just savage. He looked like he was crazy. He'd get this look on his face like he was going to kill someone. That guy, he was a scary dude. I remember my dad telling me, that's what real strength looks like. He said to me that, you see those bodybuilders? He says, they're not very strong. They look strong, but they're not that strong. What real strength looks like is they look like that. And he motioned towards the TV, and you're looking at guys like Magnus ver Magnuson and Magnus Samuelsson. Those guys are strong. Those guys are big, and those guys are strong. Bodybuilders look strong, and I'm not saying they're not. I mean, I guess it's all relative, right? Like, bodybuilders are strong compared to, other people, but, it's not like bodybuilders are strong compared to Magnus ver Magnuson. Bodybuilders are not strong compared to Sven Karlsson or Phil Pfister, right? So, those really huge guys with big burly bellies and big thick limbs, those guys move big weights. That's all there is to it. Some people are just built for it. Just like how Usain Bolt is built to run, and Michael Phelps is built to swim. Different body types favor different sports, so pick the one that fits you. If you guys like this, like the video. If you guys have an opinion, comment below. Maybe you know some secret to growing taller. If you do, feel free to DM me. I realize that I'm shy of 5'10" now because I smashed a couple discs in my back and I have an end plate fracture, so I'm 5'9" now. But I'd be really interested in becoming 6'8", and if I do become 6'8", then I'd be interested in also weighing 400 pounds and chasing the World's Strongest Man title. So if you know the secret, go ahead and comment below. If you guys like this content, be sure to subscribe, and if you have questions about this, be sure to comment and subscribe, and I'll try to answer your questions. We can discuss this deeper and further. We can talk about all kinds of fun stuff, like what time of year you're born makes a difference in whether or not you become successful in your sport, because that's actually a big factor. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope this helps someone.